Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey everybody, I'm John.
And I'm Kevin.
And this is 6 Degrees of Schwarzenegger, the podcast where we take a long, hard look at some of our favorite action movies from the era of...
Schwarzenegger. He's the icon of the genre.
Yeah.
And we're taking a deep dive into some of these 80s and 90s cult action movies and breaking them all the way down.
Welcome back, Bonza friends.
Bonzer people. What's up, John?
Hey, brother. How you doing?
Fuck it. I feel great, man.
I feel great, too.
Dude, I love Foster's. I want to get Foster's and take it to the beach with me.
Ooh, Foster's at the beach would be an awesome... Like, I feel like it's
crushable.
It's not... Yeah, it's definitely crushable. It's not as boozy as a lot of beers. And it's got more flavor than a lot of Well, I guess it is an American beer now, huh?
It seems like it from judging from the can. I've been squeezing lime into mine.
Oh, and shit. I've been missing out, though.
But yeah. Anyway.
Why are we drinking Foster's, Kevin?
John, this is an intervention. No, we're here to talk about Crocodile Dundee.
If we ever do stage an intervention, promise me it'll be in Australia or New Zealand.
Recorded.
It'll be recorded for a podcast, but I want it to be at like a hobbit hole in New Zealand. It has to be on the set of Lord of the Rings.
Oh my God.
Or it's not going to work.
Oh, so yeah, we're back. We're here to talk a little bit more about Crocodile Dundee.
What?
A 1986 fucking masterpiece, if there ever was one.
It really, I mean, yes, you critics, if you're still alive, Roger Ebert, R.I.P. But like a lot of people didn't like this movie. But
it stuns me.
I think that they just thought that it was so formulaic and that there was no plot. There really wasn't. But
there is a ton of story, I think, to it. A lot. Much happens in such a short movie.
Yeah, but when you think about it, there are no stakes. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, lives are never on the line.
There are no stakes. No stakes in this movie whatsoever.
How do you mean? Like, if it doesn't work out, then it's fine and no one's the worse for it?
Right. The movie is, she is traveling to Australia to meet this guy to write a story and then decides to... I mean, it only works when you think of it in the context of a love story. But, like, the only goal is for her to bring him to New York and for him to hope that she falls in love with him.
Well, the stakes, yeah, that us as the viewer were hoping for them to end up together.
Right. But by and large, like what the review's saying, what I kind of agree with is that it's just one long fish out of water gag.
Right. The first half was her out of water.
Right.
And the second half, him.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's endearing because it's Paul Hogan.
He's so charming.
And let's just talk about Paul Hogan. Awesome. He's amazing.
Yeah. I can see why he's like bagging women 20 years his junior.
I want to, and I didn't look up. I would love to know like what he's up to right now.
He's got that movie that came out. I mean, I think he's basically
the like sort of mockumentary thing.
Yeah, it's like he's playing himself as a person that everyone thinks of as, hey, you're Crocodile Dundee, and he's like, no, I'm not. I'm Paul Hogan.
Right.
I'm not like that guy.
Right. Man, we should definitely watch that. That sounds like fun.
It seems watchable.
Yeah.
And I think he's just living his best life.
Yeah.
Which everyone should be doing when they're in their 80s.
83 years old.
I hope you're doing exactly what you want to do. Can you imagine you're grinding on a 9 to 5, like a Walmart greeter at 80?
Well, I mean, I'm even thinking about like actors who are still killing it at
Well, if that's your passion.
Yeah,
I hope you're doing it not to pay your mortgage, but because it's what you want to do.
Yeah, well, that's a deeper conversation about how in the capitalistic society in which we live, you have to grind it out until you're 80 or you fucking can't afford your doctor. Anyway, Crocodile Dundee, baby. So what happened in the last couple of episodes is that Sue, newspaper reporter, probably wealthy, travels to Australia to meet mysterious Mick Dundee, who was bitten by a crocodile, drug himself out of the wilderness, and survived to tell the tale. They sort of have a meet cute, like romantical. It
is that thing of like, oh, he's so annoying, but he also is charming.
But he's also like Tarzan,
ruggedly handsome.
And I'm like, he's a hick from the sticks, and I'm a city woman, and I want to take him back. And
it's like
I'm slumming it.
It's the plot of any number of romance novels.
Definitely,
you know.
So she decides to convince him, and does, to come back to New York. Upon arriving in New York, her boyfriend Richard, who is also her boss,
the lure of her V is strong. Because he did. I think he came from Australia to New York for the chance.
He just wants the chance
to get with that. To
kiss that they shared there on Echo Lake was magical.
Have you had that in your life? I have. Like where you're like, oh, I need that anymore. Like you just get smitten.
Yeah, absolutely. But then they arrive back in New York. She has a boyfriend that she hasn't broken up with, who's disturbed by the fact that she's here with a strange man.
He's like your typical 80s sort of powered
Coke
Wall Street douchebag.
Yeah, he runs the newspaper. So at dinner, he tries to make a fool of Mick, but Mick gets the drop on him, punches him out at dinner, and that's where we pick up in chapter 4.
So we're on the cab ride back home. Sue is scolding Dundee for hitting Richard, saying, we're not in the pub in Walkabout Creek anymore.
I like that she's being like diminutive with him about his hometown. Like that's some highbrow shit to pull. Like saying, we're not in your hometown, redneck.
Like you don't just slug people.
That wording is very diminutive. It's pejorative on her part.
But do you agree with her in principle?
No.
No? I mean, if anyone ever deserved to get punched out, it was Richard. But she acknowledges
you
that,
should
right?
never punch a person out in public ever. Well, maybe ever, just period. I don't know. I've never punched a person, but also for her to just say we're not in your podunk hometown, that was something that didn't need to be brought into it. She was trying to demean him.
Yeah, true.
And that's bullshit. That's why I'm saying Linda's the villain. Sue is the villain.
Yeah. They're passing through like 1986 Times Square Broadway area. Mm-hmm. They looked like they were still the remnants of like some porno theaters and stuff.
You see
there.
Like cats in the background.
There was a movie theater that was playing Jagged Edge and a movie called Maxie, which I've never heard of before, but was out in theaters in 85.
Right.
So Dundee is saying, "You're not serious about this, lemon." And I like that. Butt out, Dundee. Like,
yikes.
He's, hey, call a spade. And she defends him, Richard, that is, says he's had too much to drink, but he's a warm and caring guy.
Okay. And she loves him, she says. And I love him, she ends with.
She's trying to convince herself. Do you now...
Agreed.
Tell me this, debate. Do you think, does booze make you not behave like yourself, or does it bring out your true colors?
Both.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Expound.
Both. I think that whatever is happening in your mental space at that moment can be amplified.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling especially like affable, amiable, that it amplifies that.
You can be extra happy or extra sad.
If on the other hand, if you're feeling super vulnerable, irritable, hateful, that it can amplify that.
I will say from my experience, like I've never been drunk and said something that wasn't what was in my heart.
Right.
So I think it like can remove the filter. Maybe,
for better or for worse.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think you can say like he's drunk and that's why he was being the biggest asshole on the planet. It's like for that to be in you at all, like then it makes you think that being sober helps you keep a lid on that.
Right. I think in this case, it was meant to amplify the fact that this guy's just because in the cold open, you don't get the idea that the guy's an asshole. But then for the rest of the whole movie,
he might have been a little controlling from the get-go.
You were supposed to be back here a week ago.
Yeah, like he might want a woman who he can keep. I don't know.
Agreed. No, totally agree. Yeah.
I do
but we press on.
At this moment, Richard thinks it's the perfect time
to puke in the cab.
To interrupt to say he needs to throw up, which there was a great moment where Dundee looks, satisfied, and Sue was like, "Jesus."
Yeah,
it's a good laugh moment.
Yeah, it is.
So they pull up to somebody's like pimp ass brownstone. Do you think that's Sue's place or Richard's?
She said earlier in the movie that she lived downtown. There are no brownstones downtown.
That's Richard's spot.
It must have been
Upper East Side, Upper West Side.
It would have had to have been like the upper part of Manhattan for them to live in a brownstone.
That was Mac Daddy, that house.
Yeah, badass.
So Sue tells Dundee, rest up because we got a big day tomorrow. I love this bit. Dundee tells the cabbie, let's go to a watering hole. You want to have a drink with me? That's what the fuck I'm talking about.
I fucking love New York. So we'll go and establish the cabbie's name is Danny. But that's what I'm talking about is like, it is not hard for me to believe that like, if you met a cabbie at the end of the night, at the end of the shift and be like, hey man, but also this is in the time before Uber and Lyft. When the cabbie was making like paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for his medallion or whatever it was. True. And was like making salary and belong to a union that this could happen. But I fucking love New York because it's like that's the idea. It's like, I'm off my shift, let's go fucking drink. And Danny.
Anyone would be defenseless if Mick Dundee asked you to come have a drink with him. No one could say no.
Absolutely.
A doctor like on call is like, fuck yes. What are we drinking?
ER.
He's like scrubbing in. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dundee and the cabbie, they're at this dive bar. Dundee's charming everybody.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody fucking loves this guy. You've got to. Like, he's completely himself. He's not pretentious. Like, he just gets on with everybody.
Yep.
He's like dapping it up with this pimpish type character named Buzzy.
Yeah, there's this like whole back and forth like misunderstanding. The two of them don't understand like what the other's saying, but they like respect and laugh at each other. It's all good.
And he's like, hang loose, my man. And he's like flat out like a lizard drinking. Whatever the fuck that means. And then like Buzzy's like,
say what?
He's cool.
He's like, say what? And then Dundee's like, what?
Now there's a woman there, Gwendoline. She's taking a shine to Dundee.
Right.
She's invited him to come back to her place, basically. The cabbie's like pulls Dundee aside, tells him Gwendoline's transgender, like only using much more crude language.
Right. I did a search and tried to find a word that, and I'm not trying to say that there's such a thing as homophobic light. But I think that at this time that it was probably more homo ignorant, if there is such a term, and it's not like a judgmental thing. It's like sensibility about the terminology and being respectful to other people didn't really exist.
And
unfortunately,
Danny the cabbie, I don't think he's like saying it in a hateful way. He's just like saying, "Hey Dundee, be aware. That's a transgender person.
Right.
If and then make your decision."
Right.
So that character Gwendoline is played by a person named Anne Carlisle. She was having like a real moment in the New York City scene at that time when the movie came out. She had a successful stage show where she would perform half the show as a woman and the other half of the show as a man.
That's awesome.
Like she was definitely doing this androgynous sort of thing.
Are they still active?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
She also did a spread in Playboy at the time, which in the interest of being thorough, I researched that. Feel free to Google her.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anne Carlisle Playboy. But so that threw me because I just assumed they would cast a real transvestite or crossdresser or transgender or whoever it might be, but
yeah, it was a different time, and also they were probably just looking
she
like
carried the
said.
look off. We need someone who you could believe,
right,
was either a man or a woman.
Sure.
So Dundee walks back over and gropes Gwendoline's crotch.
Yikes! Can't do that here.
She runs out in terror, justifiably.
Yeah.
The victim of a sexual assault.
Yeah.
I
mean, like, that's not okay anywhere.
It's not okay. I don't think it's even excusable in 86.
It's not meant maliciously, but again, that's giving lots of credit to someone who's an adult. Like, that's not okay anywhere. I don't think.
You would know that's not okay to touch. It's not okay to touch a person without their permission.
Correct.
Period. Regardless of even where you're touching them. So, Dundee is shocked that the cabbie was right.
Yeah, Danny, you're right.
The rest of the bar goers there find it hilarious.
Yeah, he's like, you all knew it, you bastards.
This is the scene that's like big time problematic for the movie.
Agreed.
To me, almost it's like the only scene in a movie that's 35 years old that is like, oh, you can't do that anymore.
But it goes to show you just how taboo anything having to do with transgender, homosexuality, like anything was. And though the world has a shameful far way to go to catch up, it's like, it's good now that we can look back at it and be like, yeah, that's not great. That was not good.
No,
it's not cool. You have to be willing to like grow with the times and progress.
Yeah.
Crocodile Dundee.
Well, and I think it's a learning moment.
Totally.
And I've seen movies
for Mick,
like,
definitely.
And I've seen shit like more recent movies, Wedding Crashers does shit that you're like, whoa, you can't say that.
Right.
Or like, or fucking Hangover.
Right.
Does some crazy shit. And it's like, it's amazing how much things have changed even in the last 5 or 10 years.
Agreed.
So later, like the cabbie who's drunk off his ass.
He was rough when we cut to the bar earlier. He was like coming out of the bar with like bathroom face, like
he was bragging about how he was going to outdrink Dundee. I don't think so.
Do you think that Dundee's been drinking as much as Danny has all night?
Oh yeah, I think he's got the supernatural like ability to process that shit.
He's got that super liver.
So now, Danny is so drunk he doesn't know where he parked the cab. He goes off looking for it.
That's a rough feeling.
The cross street there was Avenue B.
I saw that.
Which is like that's East Village neighborhood, which makes sense. Like a cool neighborhood, all sorts of just
all different kinds of people.
Random people, yeah. It's
those are the people you want to hang out with.
Some of the artsier neighborhoods in Atlanta, like Little Five or something. It's like just any type of person might walk in. Awesome. Now, Dundee spots a couple of hookers there. They're giving him the eye. This is Simone and Carla.
Hey, girls.
I always had a thing for Carla, too. The blonde. She was like super cute. They both had it going on for like hookers.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Simone had like a big sort of like curly wig on.
Yeah, curly black wig.
Right.
And then Carla had like a curly blonde.
They both looked like they'd be in the cast of Chicago or something to me.
Yeah, they were like it was Jamie Lee Curtis in Trading Places type hooker.
Yes.
We're like, this is too good to be true.
Right. Like, people don't look this good.
Yeah, not hookers. So not outside of Vegas, I guess, or whatever. So.
And to all the New York hookers listening,
well, they have to be high-end girls.
We've never been to the East Village on a Friday night at 2 a.m.
I don't think the high-end girls aren't hanging out on the corner.
Right.
So Dundee naively goes over. He tries to chat him up. One of them, Carla, recognizes him from the paper. She's like, I know you. You're the crocodile guy. I've been reading about you. She's like, he's like a regular Tarzan. Wrestles crocodiles, eats snakes. Is this your first trip to New York?
I will say that Carla's delivery of these lines and then the lean in and the way that the director, Feynman, captured this lean in from her, and she kind of looks over her shoulder like up at him like, is this your first trip to New York? Like that was fucking like
she's so charming.
I wish that shot should be the banner shot for a whole publicity tourism campaign. Is this your first trip to New York? It's fucking awesome.
She's a killer actress. Like she could have been the lead, I feel like, you know,
I agree.
So anyway, I like, Dundee's like, it's my first trip anywhere. And then Simone's like, well, hell, we might just have to give you one for free.
Said no hooker ever.
What? He's like, yeah. What?
He doesn't know it.
He was about to have himself the night of his life.
Here's what. Does he not know what a hooker... Are there no hookers in Walkabout Springs? Or
maybe they just don't look like Simone and Carla. I don't know. No, there's probably... Well, that is the oldest profession.
And I'm telling you... Can
you not go anywhere there's not a hooker?
Any town that sprouted in Australia is probably a mining town.
Truly, the more rough and tumble the town, the more likely it is that there's sex work happening.
Is it because he was raised by a tribe?
Yeah. He grew up like...
Then here's what. This movie should have doubled down on the fact that he was raised by a tribe and had very little contact with the
outside
ne'er-do-wells.
He's a fucking Julius Benedict.
Yes, exactly.
He's naive about everything. But I that's the way I read it. He is naive about like the bad parts of humanity. But the fact that he would never, that he had never spoken to or been approached by a hooker is unlikely. Well, I don't know. Have you ever been propositioned They're in the
by
Bible.
A hooker? Have you ever been propositioned by a hooker?
No.
I haven't either.
I'm trying.
Actually, I have.
I've been in
China.
Vegas, and I've been in Vegas,
China.
and there's like, their fucking business cards are littered everywhere on the streets, like sidewalks. But yeah, I don't think I've ever been on the right street corner at the right time of day to have them solicit you.
Right.
You know,
I have, and it was by accident, and it was in China, and I didn't understand the language.
How old were you?
18.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, I can't. I don't know what's happening.
But so that was like, I would say Dundee was like moments away from having the night of his life.
Yow, Simone and
those
Carla.
are chicks had it going on.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful girls.
I love that he's suggesting like we could go to a dance. Amazing.
That's my favorite part is the like before getting into the confrontation that's just coming, like he's a genuinely decent human being suggesting that they go to the movies.
Let's get to know each other a little bit.
Like, I love that. I love it.
So as the conversation continues, their pimp walks up and he's scolding the women for not working. Dundee tells the guy, beat it. I'm making progress here.
That's awesome.
That was a great moment. I was talking to the ladies and making progress. That gives them a little nudge,
Wing, wing, sign them all.
I like the pimp is like, we're going to talk all night? Or are you going to screw one of them?
This dude's name is John Snyder.
Okay.
And I looked him up because I love when we do these things to like look people up and find out what they've been doing since.
Oh, shit. Okay.
This guy, and it's not that he's done any one specific thing except for that he has been in, he's been in tons of movies and shows, like TV shows and stuff, but he's made a career of that and being a voice actor, especially for anime stuff. Like he was in Akira and Cowboy Bebop and all these things. Like this guy's been working steady, like hard since this decade. He started working in the 80s as a voice actor for Japanese anime.
That's badass.
And has been slaying it, like absolutely killing it. And so awesome. John Snyder, we're probably gonna hit you up on Twitter. Yeah, we're gonna like hit you up big time because we're fans.
So you're telling me he's not a real life pimp, is what you're telling me.
I'm telling you, he doesn't do this sex work stuff for a living.
That was not great dubbing. Because like they chopped out an F-bomb.
Yeah. And that's for the PG-13 rating?
That was to get it down to a PG-13, yeah. The TV version I grew up watching, you're going to like this.
I will.
He said, you're going to talk all night or you're going to make it with one of them.
Oh, so he didn't say screw?
He didn't say screw. They edited screw out to say, you're going to make one of them, which is like, that's your shit.
I streamed it on Amazon. And he said screw, and I was like, that ain't what he said.
That's not what he said. That lips don't sync up at all. Now, again, Dundee clocks the guy.
Tiger uppercuts.
That punch that punch is dangerous, man. He laid him out one punch. Just then the cab comes screeching up. Danny hops out. He's wrangling Dundee into the car. I should have been home hours ago. You think he's got like a family at home?
Up in Queens, baby. Or in the Bronx.
Awesome. Dundee apologizes to the women for the pimp's foul language. The women seem like sort of taking pleasure in seeing him hurt.
Aw.
Yeah, I love that shit. Dundee smartly insists, why don't you let me drive?
Is awesome. This is a good bit.
Then he's like, well, no wonder you're such bad drivers. Here, the steering wheel's on the wrong side of the car.
My favorite is when you hear the tire screech and horns blowing. It's like, get on the right side of the road, you pelican. I want to start calling people, you pelican.
It's a great joke, but he is noticed by now that the cars drive on the right side of the road here.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, this gag is like, no, it doesn't work.
Now, I guess it's got to be, the next day. Dundee is doing a little bath/laundry combo in the tub. Yeah. Singing a song.
Just he's like whistling.
I found it a little odd that after his first night, he's already doing laundry. Like, does he only have one pair of socks?
Yes. The answer to that question is yes.
What else is in that sack he had?
His other snake jacket.
His vests.
He has
his copious vests.
Snake vest, snake jacket, second snake jacket, snake boots, crocodile stuff.
So Sue lets herself into the room.
What the fuck is up with that?
He just had the door ajar.
Did he?
Yeah, I think it was open. I thought. Maybe she has a key.
I think she had a key or asked for a key, which is even worse.
Could give you 2 keys, I guess, when you check in.
This was she shouldn't let herself in. This was in the day before card keys. This was in the day of like hotel keys.
Accurate.
And I would guarantee that when they checked in, she said, I would also like a key so that she could let herself into his room. Because I feel like he becomes a liability for the paper and they have to be able to.
If something bad happens.
If he coked
overdosed.
Yeah, exactly. The OD.
Day one.
Yeah.
So yeah, she lets herself in. She's amused by the fact that he slept on the floor.
She is positively giddy. Like it's Christmas morning that he slept on the floor. She's like,
that's a great detail.
She's like,
it's a great detail for the story.
Yeah.
Anyway, him sleeping on the floor is charming.
It is,
and it's also full Julius Benedict style from Twins.
100%.
So, I paused it just to study what's going on in that room of his. He had a spent bottle of champagne in there, which you would dig.
I love it.
Had like his cigarettes in an ashtray, like a magazine, a little light reading, and the remnants of either a late night snack or a breakfast.
I like that. Yeah.
I love that he came back and had a bottle of bubbly.
I do too.
Fucking treat yourself, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
but also that Crocodile Dundee would come back to the hotel and be like, champagne.
Yeah.
That's badass.
Hell yeah. And later on, I don't know what the scene is, but later on there's like an empty, like a gift basket or something. There's like an empty basket and cellophane. Like I feel like the newspaper was like, have a bottle of champagne waiting. Have a gift basket there, whatever.
Yeah.
Now the housekeeper, she lets herself in.
Rosita is her name-o.
Senor Meek. Hot.
Yeah.
She's brought some fresh towels.
I think she's Greek in real life, but that's fine. Her name seems Greek.
She had a thing for Senor Meek. Dundee hears Rosita out there, tells her, leave the towels on the bed, love. Whatever. Now, Sue, sort of like gives her the, shh, don't tell him I'm here, whatever. Sue kind of pranks him. She feigns a sexual advance from the housekeeper.
Can we just talk again, like, what game is Sue playing?
I don't know, man. She knows exactly.
Sue has a steady boyfriend who she loves. I told you this in great detail in the cab last night. But here I am flirting like fuck with you in your hotel room, who I've barged into with a key that you didn't know I had.
She's torn.
My favorite thing about this scene, though, is when Mick sees the leg on the door frame and he says, "Struth."
I had to Google that.
It's one of my favorite exclamations in the English language.
I'd never heard it before today.
You and I should bring it back.
Truth. It could mean any number of things, but it seems like it's basically like a holy shit.
It's like, God's truth, which means like, holy fucking hell.
Oh, shit.
So if you're out there listening to this, God's truth, just say truth. That's old timey.
One of the great one-liners of the movie is Dundee saying, For a minute there, room service took on a whole new meaning. Awesome stuff.
I love it. But I also love that this, like in all of this, Mick thinking that this was Rosita tried to diffuse the situation saying, I was only being friendly.
Right. I was just being friendly. He takes his hat and tries to, like, he's modest. I don't think he's a gentleman.
He is a gentleman.
I think he might say some uncouth things.
Right. It's truth. Anyway.
So Sue takes Dundee out on the town, takes him up to the top of 30 Rock to take some pictures. He's marveling at the view from up there. That is my favorite viewpoint in New York City.
I've never been to the top of the Rock.
Because you're at the top of the Empire State Building. It's great. But you can't see the Empire State Building.
Right.
From the top of 30 Rock, you can see Empire State Building. You know, and that day you could see the Trade Center downtown.
Today was, as I was watching that scene, was the first time that I realized I've never been to the top of the Rock.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's great.
Looking at that view, and now it's even more poignant because the Twin Towers off in the distance in that shot are no longer there. I mean, it's breathtaking.
Yeah, so next time you're up there, check it out.
I will for sure.
Great little tour. Sue treats Dundee to an American staple, the hot dog, the New York City hot dog cart, with chili, onions, sauerkraut, and peppers.
Wow.
He's like, you eat that? She's like, well, you know, you can live on it, but it tastes like shit.
Oh, sweet making jokes.
The dude running the cart like threw her a little side eye when she said that, which is correct to do. I don't know about the chili and sauerkraut combo.
I love both
Put
of those things.
Put it all on together?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to get the sour cutting into the chili. It's good.
But yeah, that was a fucking great moment. Anyway, they continue to take in the sights. A lot of this shit, I must say.
And this is that buddy cop music from earlier, too. It's like, oh my God, it sounds like we're Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it's fine.
Oh, fuck. It does sound like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it came first.
Yeah, it did.
Also, I got to say, a lot of this stuff had a striking similarity to like what we see later in Twins.
Yes, all of it does.
The sampling the local food. You know, you're watching people get strange haircuts.
I love it. Yeah, they stop to watch a guy getting a mohawk at a barbershop, which for some reason has drawn an entire crowd.
Big ass crowd.
Why is there a crowd watching this guy get a haircut?
Mohawks had been around.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's like, why is everyone like, oh my God, can you believe
it's
this?
It's like a free show.
Boo.
Now a purse snatcher comes by, grabs some woman's bag, runs off. Somebody drops their bag of groceries and spills out.
Somebody, they drop their groceries.
Dundee picks up a loose can.
And like Eli Manning,
fucker heaves it long distance, like brains that bandit with the can from probably 100 feet away. The crowd goes wild. Dude, that shit would fuck you up. Getting hit by a can.
That's like that big can of like Campbell's tomato.
And it's like split pea shit. Yeah,
Sue standing there watching gets a massive lady boner though.
It's weird. Everybody's just standing around watching. Like no one tried to grab the guy or stop him. Everyone's like, it's a round of applause.
Well, it's like it reminded me watching this scene that maybe the people that wrote Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which maybe we should do because I think it'd be fun as shit to do it.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
Like the scene where Raph trips the purse grabber and like the guy looks up and he opens his coat and points to his side. Like that would be badass because I mean it's the same scene.
It's almost
the exact same scene.
It truly is. Now later on, I guess Sue has taken Dundee to this kind of like an art scene type of party.
Doesn't this feel like every screen interpretation of an Andy Warhol party?
Oh, totally.
It's like upper muckety muck New York. Everyone's like, oh my God, I'm an artist. I'm an intellectual.
I think we could do a whole episode just on the background players in this scene. I feel like there's such a variety of bizarre type of people.
It's so
you found it it's over the top like a truck.
It's like a truck. Well, I don't know that it's over the top. I think it's probably right on
80s excess in New York.
But I feel like
when did Warhol die? Was he still? He was around in the early 80s for sure.
He was still around in the 80s, late 80s, I think.
Okay,
like after Basquiat died.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying is like, it's like this vibe was the vibe of New York.
I was digging it, man.
I did. I wish that I was there. I wish Warhol was there. I wish Basquiat was there.
The women at that party, dude, were next level. Sue looked incredible as well with her little form-fitting dress with the weird cutouts.
It was like red spandex cut out like a...
No underwear was worn with that dress.
She looked like pasta. She was like a...
Yeah.
She was like a piece of pasta.
Amazing.
All kind of cutouts.
Now, they bump into Simone there, which is an awesome touch. She's there with an older guy. Simone, the streetwalker, is there with this older gentleman who Dundee is like, it's nice of her dancing with her father.
That's
like
endearing.
That. Yeah, she's like, Sue is like, boy, we got to get rid of some of that country boy shine of yours.
What is she? Does she want him to get rid of the country boy shine?
She's charmed by it. I think she's just like, you got to be no less naive, I guess.
Yeah.
Dundee, I noticed, was getting like a lot of attention from the women at the party. He sort of fit right in with these other loud characters, you know?
Yes, because everyone in that room is their own character.
Yeah, it was like a total like pretend, like affectations and weird wigs, and I'm dressed like a Native American. There was some, or like, just weird shit happening.
They're weird tropes. Just a room full of tropes.
Yeah. So Sue, she introduces Dundee to this woman, Fran.
I love this. This scene has been burned in my mind for my entire life.
Is this older lady? I think she's the host of the party.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get too.
She's got like a young boy toy at her side, which is great. Good for her. She's got a very deep voice.
She's got a B. Arthur thing going on voice-wise.
Yeah. So Dundee leans in and gropes her crotch.
Not okay.
You still can't do it. Dundee, having confirmed that Fran's got female genitalia, he says he's pleased to meet her.
Ugh.
Sue's like mortified. It's okay. He's Australian. And Fran says, maybe I'd better go there someday.
Get it, Fran?
She was into it. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. You just can't do that, though. No. As they continue to mingle, Sue like gives Dundee sort of a "what the fuck are you doing?" look, and Dundee's like, "I'm just making sure."
Making sure, what does it matter?
Someone's got to tell him you can't do that.
But also, what does it matter?
Yeah, she wasn't propositioning him. It's extra weird.
Yeah.
With Gwendoline, he had some skin in the game.
Right.
This is just like, I meet a random stranger. I got to know if they're biologically, what is going on between their legs. I got to know.
There are rules of decency, and the first of which is it doesn't matter what anyone's sexual orientation or preference or identification is, Mick Dundee. But this was 1986, and Paul Hogan.
It was a different time, and he's his character. He's playing the uber naive.
He is playing Peter Pan. He is Australian Peter Pan. It's like I don't know what to think. He doesn't know what's going on. But thank God for Sue being there to like tell him like
she didn't though.
Yeah,
she didn't.
That's also
she
true.
Should have been like, dude, don't touch anyone unless they ask you to touch them. Like that's rule number one. That's a good rule to teach any child at age 5. Like, don't touch anyone if they haven't encouraged you to touch them. So Sue disappears to go get him some drinks.
No one needs more drinks. Everyone's had enough.
Dundee starts to roll himself a cigarette, which is fucking a swaggerish move.
Yeah, it's badass.
As he's surveying this party scene. Now, this woman who was smoking hot comes up and takes a long drag off his cigarette.
She's got like a pixie dream girl thing going on. She's got like a wig on.
She had that sort of, it was like this white wig. It was like a Sia, the musician, like Sia vibe.
Yeah.
She's like, that's good shit.
Does that woman not smoke weed? Because there's no way to confuse weed from a rolled cigarette at all. Or so I've heard.
I think she's so wasted that she's
just Australian tobacco or whatever he's smoking tastes like
I'm
weed.
sure that fresh tobacco rolled without all the preservatives probably does have a different taste. Yeah. But I still wouldn't think it tastes like weed. It's enough to confuse the two.
Yeah.
But she's also probably so fucking high.
She's on acid.
She is. She's eating a bunch of shrooms. And
she's out of her mind.
Yeah, but yeah. Now, later on, Dundee is like fitting right in.
Yeah, he's the life of the party.
He's chatting it up with randos. Sue was out there dancing on the dance floor, giving him the eye.
Mixed signals.
She looked fucking great.
Mixed signals.
Fran, the older woman, the hostess, is giving like a flirty wave to Dundee.
I do love that she appears to be drinking some brown liquor in a glass, though.
Fran was?
Fran drinking like a brown liquor cocktail, baby.
Fuck yeah.
She's drinking an old fashioned or a Manhattan or something.
Well, we'll get to it.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, Fran was into that crotch grab.
No, she's like, I must get to Australia, baby.
Good for her. So Dundee, he pounded that martini. He like downed it in one big gulp and went to like look for a quiet spot. I guess he found the kitchen area where there was some dudes snorting cocaine. And
amazing.
There was a bottle of Drambuie on the table.
Nice.
That came up in Roadhouse.
Yeah.
We talked about it. I Googled it. So Drambuie is scotch infused with honey, herbs, and spices.
Yeah, it's got a very medicinal, like herbal quality to it.
I'm curious now to have it. I didn't know it was scotch based. I thought it was more like a...
It's got a smoky quality to it. We should try some.
In my mind, yeah, I assume it can be found. Is it back in the liqueurs?
Yeah, it is in the liqueurs. My dad likes a Drambuie. He doesn't really...
Do you drink it just straight? Is it a mixer?
You usually mix it with something else, like with a cocktail of some
with
kind.
other spirits? Or
not many, but just like to make like the base of a cocktail, just because there's so much going on in the
I'm curious about it.
We should get some.
Maybe we can find like a small.
I guarantee you they have the Toco Giant. Yeah,
okay,
they do.
Let's check that out. Shout out Toco Giant.
Hey,
sponsor us.
Yeah, because we'll give you business. Yeah, they definitely have Drambuie.
Okay,
Toco Giant.
Awesome. Okay, Dundee misunderstanding what's going on with this dude snorting the coke. He like thinks the guy's trying to treat a stuffed nose.
Right.
So he like he fills a pot with hot water.
Thank God the kettle was boiling unattended.
What was anyone doing with boiling water?
It was boiling unattended on the stove, and it was not whistling.
I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if
someone was like, make a round of hot toddies for everyone.
I guess so.
Make a round of hot toddies for everyone, said Fran.
Someone could have been working on some coffee. Or tea or something, got distracted. I don't know.
Yeah. Either one of those.
But you're right.
Things.
The teapot should have at least been just
making
obnoxiously whistling. So Dundee.
There should have been a staff member like slumped over the stove, like just coked out and like asleep. Anyway.
So Dundee, he takes that boiling hot water. He pours it into a pot. He takes this man's entire stash.
Like a whole file full.
Yeah. Empties it in there. He tells the man, lean over it. It's like steaming up. He's like, take big, deep breaths. He throws the towel over the guy's head, tells him, like 10 minutes of this, you'll be clear as a bell.
Oh, my God.
Sue leads him away, tells him, you just like wrecked all that dude's cocaine. Dundee doesn't even know what that is. Sue tries to explain like the concept of getting high.
Huh?
So is it conceivable that Dundee has no understanding of like the concept of drugs?
That's unlikely.
I don't know. It's how sheltered were you? Julius Benedict. Does Julius Benedict know about drugs? Yes, because he reads shit. He researches.
You don't think that any of the guys in Walkabout Springs are bringing like low grade shit
Their
into
meth
the village?
Heads are like shooting heroin and shit.
Definitely.
But somehow Dundee doesn't seem to get it.
He would know what drugs are.
Okay. Now he smoothly he says something. I was like, oh, she's like, it's for a buzz. He's like, oh, like when you shove a blowfly up your nose, which is bizarre.
And she creams.
She just creamed. He clinked glasses with her and threw his arm around her shoulder, and she was just like staring him down, man. She gave him the hard, long look. They were staring into each other's eyes.
It was the longest look of the film. This was the look where maybe you think that this is where you saw them fall in love.
I think she was at least realizing it's time to move away from Richard.
Right.
Now, next morning, Dundee is on the phone with Walt back at the Walkabout Creek pub.
Right.
He's checking in on things back home. Donk grabs the phone, tells Dundee, get stuffed.
Love it. Love that dude's voice. Donk's voice is awesome.
Yeah, he's great. Walt is asking, how are you getting on in New York? Dundee tells him, "These bonds are people. They're a bit weird."
Bonds are, for anyone who doesn't know, which I didn't, apparently means like first rate.
Yeah.
First rate people.
But weird. That's a fair assessment.
Absolutely.
More than fair.
Especially in New York.
It is a quick, funny cut from him saying, these people are a bit weird. Smash cut to Dundee's in his hotel room wearing a towel and his boots. He's got like his clothes strung up on a laundry line that he's rigged up in the room. He's got his knife stuck in the wall to set up the laundry line from. I need to see how Dundee was living back in Walkabout Creek.
I do too.
Like, what the fuck are you used to, man?
I feel like they show his shack in part 2.
But I was watching it today, and he said, like, that's his holiday house. Like, I haven't been here in a long time. Like, when he's living out in the bush, I guess he stays there. But I don't think it's his every night home. But I'm curious as hell how he's living. Is he sleeping on the floor, I guess, somewhere?
He must be, yeah.
We're camping out under the stars, man. There's worse ways to live.
Absolutely.
So Walt asked Dundee, when you coming home? He says he'd like to stay a while. Walt correctly surmises that it's because of Sue. Now, Dundee says, well, for starters, she's a better kisser than Donk.
But at this point, at least in the movie, they haven't kissed since before they left from Australia.
I almost got the impression that scene where they were staring into each other's eyes,
we're supposed to...
There might have been a kiss that got edited out there.
I wondered that. Is like...
The scene seemed to cut short to me.
Is he hanging on to the moment of, like, where they kissed by Echo Lake, or has something happened while he's been in New York?
I think they filmed something happening at that party.
Okay.
But I think they cut it out so that we're supposed to think that nothing has happened since Echo Lake.
Gotcha.
But it's weird now for him to be coming clean about kissing her when previously in the immediate aftermath, he's played it down.
Well, now we're separated by phone lines and scruples.
So Walt tells him, keep in touch. He hangs up. I thought it was weird that the phone immediately was ringing again in the pub. No chance. I feel like that's a place where they get one call a week to the bar.
Somebody calling, "Are you open?"
Yeah.
What?
So later that night, Dundee, he's walking Sue home from somewhere.
Where have they been?
Out to dinner?
By themselves?
Without Richard.
Press tour? Sightseeing? What are they doing?
More sightseeing. Maybe she could have taken him to like a Broadway show or something.
Oh, that's so
I'm trying to think, what would you do with someone? But
okay.
They're on their own. We've arrived at the most iconic moment of the whole movie.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Young fella walks up, asks if he can get a light, which Dundee politely agrees. Dude's rocking like some Michael Jackson fashion.
Like Thriller. He looks like Thriller. Yeah. 100%.
Guy pulls out a switchblade.
And several other young ruffians materialize at the same time. It's like a gang.
He's like, "And your wallet." And then Sue is encouraging Mick, like, "Mick, give him your wallet." And he's like, What for? He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. Whoosh. That's a knife. Is it like everyone's uncle, everyone's dad quoted that line for 20 years?
I'm sure if there's like the AFI list of best movie lines, it's in there.
That's a knife.
Yeah. Dundee like slashes the punk's jacket and the punk runs off. I read in some versions they cut the bit out of him slashing the guy's jacket, like because they thought it was too aggressive.
I wondered the same thing if it was similar to the first or the second act, the second episode where he shot at the poachers, and it was just like he knows the depth that he can get to without injuring someone.
Oh, I'm sure that he knows exactly. That knife is an extension of his body.
And so that's what this scene reminded me of, is when he was shooting at the guys, he knew exactly where he could shoot and do what.
Yeah.
And so this scene was like, I know I can do this and fuck you up and you're going to run away and it's not going to hurt you.
I never got the impression that he meant that guy any physical harm.
Right.
He's just like scaring him off.
Right.
Just kids. Then Dundee is like, just kids having fun. That's a fucking generous perspective. Settled.
That was awesome.
Then, Dundee's asking Sue, "Are you all right?" And she's like, "I'm always all right when I'm with you, Dundee." She's like, God, what was that noise? What was that?
That was
What does that
me
mean?
like snoring at her.
This is like, God, that sounds corny.
Yeah,
Why do
it
you always
does.
make me feel like Jane in the Tarzan comics?
Because you keep bringing it up.
And Dundee sort of thumps his chest and gives a little Tarzan yell. It's a nice moment. She moves in for like the passionate.
She is straight thirsty.
kiss. For sure.
She's like, oh my God, how long can I take to get over to you to kiss you?
That was the real deal kiss. Like, Sue has got herself a problem.
Yeah, she is two-timing Sue at this point, like big time.
We've spoken. Now, we can't just move on from this scene. Like, we've spoken about movies past.
Yeah.
That there's a scene that feels like the whole movie revolves around this scene.
Right.
But, like, this is next
the Ellis
level.
Scene?
The Ellis scene, the meatball subs. But this
Utah, give me two.
Give me two. This shit though is next level. Like
the give me that's not a knife.
Yeah,
That's
like there's not too many examples of movies where the scene is so iconic that people who have never seen the movie before know that scene, or they know what line that movie's from.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Bring it.
If we were to poll a few 18 to 28-year-olds, would they know what that line comes from? Or would they recognize the line?
The 18-year-olds recognize it. Like, I've heard that before.
Sure. I'm just saying, would they recognize it?
I've heard someone say that.
Would you think that they recognize that line? Because it was ubiquitous when we were kids.
I think 75% would recognize it.
That's generous. Okay.
I don't think they'd know what it was from. But people in the 28 to 48 age group, I would say probably about 90% plus know what that's from. It's like the I am your father type shit where you're like, I never seen Star Wars, but I know that is a line from Star Wars.
I'm going to teach my kids that line.
Or like there's no place like home type shit.
Oh man, thinking about a generation of children that have never seen Wizard of Oz, or Sound of Music.
I feel like there's people still watch that.
Man, I hope so.
Yeah.
Because so many kids they don't watch TV. They don't watch TV. They don't watch TMC.
It's not on YouTube.
Where yeah, exactly. If it's not on YouTube, are they watching it? And so that's my fear is that as hard as people like George Lucas, God love him for both preserving and destroying film, has fought for the preservation of film. He fought for preservation of film in a medium, TV, which is now subscription based, and that a lot of kids are going to be like, if it's not on YouTube, I'm never going to watch it or whatever.
There's some shit like Wizard of Oz, for example, should be available for free all the time.
Absolutely.
Like on every platform almost. Like whoever owns the rights to an MGM should just be like, it's free everywhere because everyone needs to see this shit. Like anything that's in the Library of Congress almost should just be free to watch.
I agree with that as well.
Because that's this moment that's a knife. That's that shit that turns up on like the AFI, greatest moments lists and
because
stuff.
It is. Because it's like I rewound this scene more than 10 times today to watch why it's so effective.
What did you come up with?
And the reason is that like Paul Hogan's chuckle before he delivers the line, he goes, that's not a knife. And then you don't even really, all you hear is sort of the sound of him pulling the knife, and he goes, and then you see the blade and he goes, that's a knife. And his eyes light up. And the way his eyes light up is like, it would never have worked without his facial expression. And it's like, holy shit. And I watched it because the way that he delivered it was the same way that my uncles would recount it to me, as though I'd never seen it. But the way that they recollected it to me, like that was the way that they would do it in that situation. And that's why it's so memorable. It was like, if these stupid redneck motherfuckers were in that situation, that's how they would have done it. And so it was just like, it was so real because I could see him immediately in members of my own family. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the guy's such a natural entertainer, I guess.
Yeah. Oh,
that
he's
it's just
flawless.
Because, he's not a guy who went to acting school in Australia. He's just a dude who is a natural born funny man. It's fucking awesome.
Oh,
love the man. I love the moment.
Love the movie. Yeah. We're all out of time for this episode. We miss Mike. Mike, we're so glad you were with us. We miss our friends in the Last of the Action Heroes podcast network. We hope you guys are listening along. Fuck you if you're not, but not really, but also really. And we're going to see you guys back for the final installment in our Crocodile Dundee series. Kevin.
We'll be back.